Thank you for joining me on this edition of the Sovereign Confessions. Today, I am going to be talking with Melissa Hoff, and we are going to be talking about finding out that you have COVID-19 or the coronavirus, whichever you decide to call it. So, Melissa, why don't you tell me a little bit about yourself? Where are you from, and how long have you been a stylist? Are you an owner?
I am an owner. I own an employee salon. I've been doing hair about 25 years, and I love it. Still.
Good deal. So,
And I'm from Louisiana,
Awesome.
Bossier City, Louisiana.
All right. So kind of tell us what sparked your decision to get tested. Were you showing any symptoms, or did you find out that you had been exposed?
I started showing symptoms. It started with a migraine, which is nothing unusual for me, and I actually worked through that migraine on a Wednesday. And then that Wednesday night, I got home, and about 8 o'clock, I started feeling like I got that first little twinge of getting sick. And I told my husband, I'm going to bed. I'm going to try and sleep it off. I thought it was a little bit of the lingering migraine. And I woke up coughing throughout the night, Wednesday night. Woke up Thursday morning feeling icky and went to brush my teeth and couldn't taste my toothpaste.
Oh, no.
I was instantly, yep, I can't go to work. So I ran in before I opened, called all my employees or all my customers for the day, and went and did the instant test, rapid test, and knew within 15 minutes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So what was your initial reaction when you found out that you were positive with COVID?
I cried.
I
cried.
I think you're alone in that.
Just the fear of how I was, because everybody reacts so differently to it. It was the fear of not knowing how my body was going to react to it, and the fear of ending up in the hospital, or giving it to my husband who is a diabetic. Just that fear. And then I went into kind of like cleanup mode, trying to figure out what to do next.
Okay, so what was your plan of action?
I kind of had it planned out in my mind, but you really don't know until you get there.
Sure.
In the state of Louisiana, we have to have a log book separate from our appointment books, where we have everyone's name and phone numbers written down. And so I immediately went back to the salon and grabbed that, so I didn't have to go back and forth between my appointment book and the phone and getting all that taken care of. All the names were right there. And so I started calling, and then one of my girls, she's like, text me the picture of the numbers and I'll call. And so she started calling everybody, and we called 2 weeks back, and it was probably about 100 people.
Wow.
And it took her about 5 hours to call everybody. And she just jumped on it and did it on her own. She knew I wasn't feeling good, so she did that for me.
So how did you kind of go about telling your clients? Like, what'd you say to them?
I was transparent with them. I wasn't, one of the employees has it, or one of the employees came in contact. I straight up was honest with them, told them that I was diagnosed, and her customers, we told them that I was diagnosed as well, because they might not have been as nervous as one of my customers. So that way because we do, our salon chairs are very separated, so we're not near each other. And so we let her customers know, and she also took off the 2 weeks, just so that we knew we were good.
Did she get tested too?
She had actually, that's a different story in herself. She had taken off on January or July 3rd to go on vacation. And so she was gone. I tested positive on the 9th. So she was gone. So she was watching for symptoms. But when they got back on a Wednesday, I think about a week after I tested positive. And the next Monday, her husband tested positive, and he ended up actually in the hospital
Oh,
for a
wow.
week. But
So,
he got it from their vacation.
oh, okay. So, what kind of reactions did you get from your clients?
Well, most of them, everybody was very concerned. For me, uh, everybody's like, well, I'll just, or what do I need to do? And I told them, what CDC recommended, and that was to quarantine for 14 days and watch for symptoms. And that if they had any further questions, to contact their doctor, because I didn't want that responsibility of telling them what to do or how to act with it. So I told them the recommendations, and if they had any further questions, to contact their doctors. And most everybody was understanding. We did get a couple craps, but
Yeah,
but everybody was very, very understanding.
that's a smart move on your part by just, like telling them recommendations via the CDC and stuff instead of, because we're not doctors, so we can't diagnose, we can't prescribe, we can't tell people what to do. We can maybe highly recommend, but
Yeah.
yeah, that takes the responsibility kind of off of your shoulders, so that they don't come back and say, well, Melissa said blah blah blah.
Exactly. You don't want your clients, well, you told me to do this and this happened, because then at that point you would become liable for some things.
Yeah, so did either of you guys end up losing any clients?
No, we have not at all. I do have one lady. She's an older lady that she's stopped coming to me for now, and she stopped coming to me right before shutdown. And it's only because she's elderly. Her husband's elderly, and they're not getting out at all still.
Oh,
So she hasn't come back yet, but she will.
okay. So what does it feel like to have COVID?
Think of the flu for 2 weeks straight, and that's
As we were talking, you said that you were still kind of having some, because we're a few weeks later, you're still having some lingering like symptoms
I
going on.
am. I get exhausted really easy, really fast, just quick drain of energy. And I also, a lot of people don't realize, and I didn't realize until I Googled it, I get migraines, but migraines is also COVID triggered, and it can be a symptom of COVID. And I've gotten to the point now in my life, I usually get a migraine one every 2 to 6 months. And from July 8th until last Friday, I've had 17 migraines.
Wow.
Yes.
So did your doctor give you any recommendations as to how to like treat it, or just kind of take comfort measures?
Yes, it was Tylenol or Motrin if I had fever or aches. Uh, I added like Tylenol, or no, not Tylenol. I added NyQuil to help me sleep at night and help with the aches. But it was pretty much their recommendation was to write it out if I got a fever that wouldn't come down with medication, or if my blood oxygen level got below 90, to go to the ER.
Okay.
And I never ran a fever at all
Wow.
with the COVID.
So how long, I mean, you still are recovering, but how long would you say, I mean, you were totally out of commission?
2 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah, I was in bed straight for 2 weeks.
So do you feel afraid to work with clients now?
Actually, I feel a little less afraid now.
Okay.
I did, you've got 2 weeks in bed. I did a lot of research, and I have read through CDC. I go to the source. I don't deal with a lot of the hearsay.
Right.
I went to the source, and from what the CDC is saying is that for about 3 months, about 90 days, you have those antibodies that even if you come in contact with someone that has COVID, you don't have to go get tested again.
Okay.
That like right now there's a possibility if I was to go get tested again, I would be tested as positive because I still have that virus in my body. It's dead now, but I'm still shedding it, and that test cannot differentiate between live and dead viruses.
Right. Right. So what do you want people to know about testing positive for COVID?
Have your plan. Have your plan. Know exactly what you're going to do. The best bet, I would say, as far as going to get tested, if you can find someone that does the rapid test, pay for it, get it done, because you can immediately start calling your clients. If you have to wait 5 days, all the clients that you've seen, you don't know to call them or not, and they're sitting there going to visit friends, family.
Yeah.
There's that possibility that they could have been could have caught it.
Right. So, I want to thank you for joining us. I think we've kind of covered everything about how being a stylist, a salon owner, and testing positive for COVID. It is. I was talking to a stylist today who came into contact, and her job has told her she has to go get tested, and the doctor said she needs to quarantine, even though she doesn't have her test results back. But she said she's being made to feel like has leprosy or something like that.
Yeah, it's crazy. Especially for the tests that don't come back rapid. You know, you're treated as if you have it. I mean, and it doesn't matter, even if you have the slightest connection to somebody, they want you to go get tested now. And if you were in the room with somebody sometimes, and sometimes that's not in within the time frame, to be able to even get it. It's crazy. It does. People look at you like you're crazy when you say you've had it.
Right. So one last thing, what do you recommend for stylists and salon owners, like for the plan of action?
I will say that the logbook came in so handy. As soon as I felt like I was sick, I knew I couldn't go in. So luckily at that point, my employee was on vacation, but I would have called her immediately, told her to stay home. I would have gone in, called all the clients to make sure that nobody showed up for the day, did my test. When it tested positive, then you start your backward tracing to call everybody and let them know.
So was it kind of hard to call? I know I said one more question, but
it's okay. We can talk.
Was it hard to be like that ill and then still have to find the energy to call and have these conversations?
Yes, it was. And I think that's why my employee decided, she's like, I'm going to do this for you because you sound horrible.
Well,
and I had already called like probably about 10 people, and I was so drained at that point. And I just like, I got to keep going. I got to keep going.
Right.
Because you need to get it done as soon as you possibly can. And she had it done. I tested positive probably about 10:30 that morning, and she had it done within 5 hours. So everybody was called before the end of the day.
That's good. Well, Melissa, thank you very much for joining us. And this is
Thank you for having me.
Yes, this is the Sovereign Stylist, Sovereign Confessions, where we interview fellow industry people. If you want to, give us a like and hit the subscribe button down below, and we will see you next month. Thank you and goodbye.
Thank you.